What would you say is your process for developing good novel ideas?
You have to be aware that clearly there are many other brilliant people around. So you have to ask yourself a question: why the given idea, uh, let's say, wasn't tried by someone else? And in some sense, it has to do with, you know, kind of simple. It might sound simple, but like a thinking outside of the box. And what do I mean here? So, for instance, for a while, people in academia, they assumed that you have a fixed data set and then you optimize the algorithms in order to get the best performance.
Mhm.
And that was so engraved assumption that no one thought about training models on entire internet, or like that maybe some people thought about it, but it it felt to many as unfair.
Mhm.
And in some sense, that's almost like a it's not my idea or so, but that's an example of breaking a typical assumption.
Mhm.
So you want to be in the paradigm that you're breaking a typical assumption.
In the context of the AI community, getting to pick your data set is cheating.
Correct. And in some sense, so that was assumption that many people had out
Yeah.
there. And then if you free yourself from assumptions, then they are likely to achieve something that others cannot do. And in some sense, if you are trying to do exactly the same things as others, it's very likely that you're going to have the same results.
Yeah. I but there's also that kind of tension, which is asking yourself the question, why haven't others done this? Because I mean, I get a lot of good ideas, but I think probably most of them suck when they meet reality.
So actually, I think the other big piece is getting into habit of generating ideas, training your brain toward generating
Mhm.
ideas, and not even uh, suspending judgment of the ideas. So in some sense, I noticed myself that even if I'm in the process of generating ideas, if I tell myself, "Oh, that was a bad idea," then that actually interrupts the process, and I cannot generate more ideas because I'm actually focused on the negative part, why it won't work.
Yes.
But I created also an environment in the way that it's very easy for me to store new ideas. So for instance, next to my bed, I have a voice recorder,
Mhm.
and it happens to me often. Like I wake up during the night and I have some idea. In the past, I was writing them down on my phone, but that means turning on the screen, and that wakes me up. Or like pulling a paper, which requires turning on the light. These days, I just start recording it.
What do you think? I don't know if you know who Jim Keller is.
I know Jim Keller.
He's a big proponent of thinking hard on a problem right before sleep so that he can sleep through it and solve it in his sleep or like come up with radical stuff in his sleep. He was trying to get me to do this.
So it happened from my experience perspective. It happened to me many times during the high school days when I was doing mathematics that I had the solution to my problem as I woke up.
Hmm.
Uh, at the moment, regarding thinking hard about the given problem, is I'm trying to actually devote substantial amount of time to think about important problems, not just before the sleep.
Hmm.
Like I'm organizing amount of the huge chunks of time such that I'm not constantly working on the urgent problems, but I actually have time to think about the important one.
So you do it naturally. But his idea is that you kind of prime your brain to make sure that that's the focus. You know, oftentimes people have other worries in their life that's not fundamentally deep problems. They're like, I don't know, just stupid drama in your life and even at work, all that kind of stuff. He wants to kind of pick the most important problem that you're thinking about and go to bed on that.
I think that's wise. I mean, the other thing that comes to my mind is also I feel the most fresh in the morning.
Mm,
So
yeah.
during the morning, I try to work on the most
Yeah.
important things rather than just being pulled by urgent things or checking email or so.
What do you do with because I've been doing the voice recorder thing too, but I end up recording so many messages, it's hard to organize.
I have the same problem. Now I have heard that Google Pixel is really good in transcribing text, and I might get a Google Pixel just for the sake of transcribing text.
Yeah, people listening to this, if you have a good voice recorder suggestion that transcribes, please let me know. It's some of it is this has to do with OpenAI codecs too. Like some of it is simply like the friction. I need apps that remove that friction between voice and the organization of the resulting transcripts and all that kind of stuff. But yes, you're right. Absolutely. Like during, for me, it's walking, sleep too, but walking and running, especially running, get a lot of thoughts during running. And there's no good mechanism for recording thoughts.
So one more thing that I do, I have a separate phone, which has no apps. Maybe it has like Audible or let's say Kindle. Yeah. No one has this phone number. This is kind of my meditation phone.
Yeah.
And I try to expand the amount of time that's the phone that I'm having. It has also Google Maps if I need to go somewhere. And I also use this phone to write down ideas.
That's a really good idea. That's a really good idea.
Often, actually, what I end up doing is even sending a message from that phone to the other phone. So that's actually my way of recording messages, or I just put them into notes.
I love it.